There's a moment in Chainsaw Man when Denji, our dumb hungry chainsaw-headed hero, finally gets a taste of something he's never had before: a normal breakfast, eggs toast, a warm room peace. It's a small scene, quiet, almost forgettable, but in a show where people explode into gore every 5 minutes, this silence hits different. It's the eye of a storm made of trauma, and it says more about Denji than 1,000 chainsaw fights ever could. Hey, welcome back, you beautiful disasters. Today, we're diving into one of the bloodiest, weirdest, most gut-wrenchingly human anime to chainsaw its way into our hearts: Chainsaw Man. Now, if you think this is just a show about demons and dudes with chainsaws for heads, oh sweet summer child, you're in for a psychological beatdown disguised as a shonen battlefest. Chainsaw Man is violent, yes, it's gory, it's chaotic, but under all that blood and carnage is a surprisingly soft, sad core. This isn't a show about saving the world, it's a show about surviving it. It's not here to inspire you, it's here to rip out your heart, make you look at it, and ask, was this worth it? Let's rewind and meet our boy Denji. Denji is not your classic shonen protagonist. He's not noble, he's not hopeful, he's not trying to be the Hokage or pirate king or wizard Jesus. He just wants 3 things: food, boobs, and a bed. And if that sounds stupid, that's because it is, but also it's real. Denji starts the show as a kid, literally selling body parts to pay off his dad's debt. He's homeless, starving, and completely alone except for Pochita, the most adorable murder chainsaw in anime history. This guy's not dreaming big, he's just trying to not die, and that's what makes him hit so hard. Because Denji isn't a hero, he's a survivor. When he fuses with Pochita and becomes Chainsaw Man, it should be his big superhero glow-up moment, right? Except nothing changes. Sure, he gets a cool job and better food, but emotionally, spiritually, he's still chasing scraps. Because even though he now has a warm bed and cool coworkers, he's still the same broken, neglected kid, just with more blood on his hands. Chainsaw Man isn't here to glorify power. It's here to show you how empty it feels when you've never had love. And that brings us to one of the most haunting characters in the show, Makima. Makima is what happens when you take every manipulative boss, toxic mother figure, and cult leader fantasy and put it in a red-eyed girl boss body. She's calm, she's powerful, she notices Denji, and that's all he ever wanted. He doesn't crave love as much as he craves being wanted. And Makima, she weaponizes that. She gives him praise when he obeys, she touches him when he behaves, she dangles attention like a dog treat, and Denji, poor emotionally starved Denji, chases it without question. It's abuse disguised as kindness, and that's where Chainsaw Man hits its deepest nerve. It's not just about the violence we see, it's about the violence we accept. The emotional manipulation, the power plays, the way trauma makes people complicit in their own suffering. Denji never fights Makima because he never learns how to say no to someone who gives him crumbs of affection. That's real, that's raw, that's horrifying. But the genius of Chainsaw Man isn't just in how it shows abuse, it's in how it normalizes it, because that's how abuse feels when you're in it. Normal, inevitable, like part of the job. Let's talk about the job. By the way, Denji becomes a devil hunter for the Public Safety Bureau, aka the most cursed office job in anime. Everyone here is broken, Aki, cold, vengeful, and dying slowly. Power, loud, chaotic, and terrified of intimacy. Kobeni, the human embodiment of a panic attack. These are not heroes, they're trauma survivors on a payroll. And what's wild is how Chainsaw Man shows camaraderie in this mess. Denji, Power, and Aki become a found family, not because they like each other, but because nobody else will have them. Their bond is messy, violent, weird, and real. When they share meals, it's not heartwarming, it's desperate. When they fight together, it's not epic, it's survival. But these quiet moments between the fights, they matter, because in a world where death is around every corner, the smallest joys, ice cream, a bath, a nap, become lifelines. And then, just when you start to believe maybe this broken little family will be okay, Chainsaw Man kills one of them, or 2, or all of them. This show does not care about your feelings, it builds relationships just to shatter them. But here's the messed up thing: it has to, because Chainsaw Man is about what it costs to live in a cruel world. The devils aren't the monsters, the system is. You don't defeat evil by punching it, you survive it by adapting to it. And sometimes, that means becoming something monstrous yourself. Enter the concept of the devil. In this universe, devils are born from fear. The more people fear something, the more powerful the devil becomes. That's brilliant storytelling, because it turns our inner horrors into literal monsters. The gun devil isn't just a big baddie, it's a physical manifestation of mass shootings, war, and global terror. It's fear weaponized. And yet, for Denji, the scariest devils aren't the ones with guns and claws, they're the ones who offer him love and then take it away. Makima's the biggest devil of them all, not just because of her power but because of her lies. She gives Denji hope, a dream, a reason to live, and then she burns it all down just to prove a point. And here's the wildest part: Denji lets her, because he doesn't think he deserves better. That's the real horror of Chainsaw Man. Not the blood, not the deaths, but the quiet acceptance of suffering. The way Denji shrinks his dreams down until they can fit in someone else's pocket. The way he smiles through pain because he's never known anything else. And yet he grows, slowly, painfully. He begins to question, begins to want things for himself. Not because someone told him to, not because it earns praise, but because he's finally realizing he might deserve happiness that isn't earned through obedience. That's the arc. Not power, not revenge, self-worth. And that is what makes Chainsaw Man special. It's a shonen that tears apart the very idea of shonen. No grand speeches, no destiny, just a messed up kid trying to find a reason to wake up in the morning. And sometimes, that reason is just toast. Now let's talk about the aesthetics, because oh my god. Chainsaw Man looks like a music video directed by Satan and financed by a cigarette company. Mappa went feral with this one. The action scenes are fluid, brutal, and chaotic, but the real magic is in the intimacy. The way the camera lingers on Denji brushing his teeth. The quiet framing of a lonely apartment. The slow zoom in when Makima leans in just a little too close. It's not just animated, it's cinematic. And let's not forget the openings and endings. There's a different ed for almost every episode, and each one is a love letter to mood, style, and absolute emotional carnage. It's like the show is saying, you might be broken, but at least you can vibe while crying. So what does Chainsaw Man want us to feel? Conflicted, uncomfortable scene. It wants you to question why we glorify suffering. Why we cheer when characters break themselves for a cause. Why we treat trauma as fuel, instead of something to heal. It wants you to ask why Denji doesn't want to save the world, because maybe he shouldn't have to. Maybe, sometimes, surviving is enough. Maybe. Sometimes, it's okay to want toast and boobs and naps, not because it's noble, but because it's human. So the next time someone says Chainsaw Man is just another edgy action show, tell them this: it's not just about chainsaws and devils, it's about what it means to be used. To be loved conditionally, to find your own worth in a world that only values your pain. And if that's not deep as hell, I don't know what is. Thanks for watching, my beautifully broken weirdos. If you enjoyed this chainsaw deep dive, give that like button a slice. Leave your chaotic thoughts in the comments, and hit subscribe for more anime truths that punch you in the soul. And remember, happiness can be as simple as breakfast. Stay sharp, stay human. Bye bye.